Yes, we did it. We made it. It is officially a new year. It is officially spring. Happy New Year, and happy spring. Song of the day is Miss Goody Two Shoes by Isley from Album of the Week. So glad we're doing this album thing. When the City Sleeps, again by Isley. Love her down. I'm glad this is her new album that came out just a few days ago. I'm glad she's back. Love Isley. If you don't, get to know her. Happy March, happy Women's History Month, happy Black Women's History Month. Thank you for choosing the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast, the podcast that loves all things space. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Fee, and on this podcast, it's just me yapping, yammering, ranting about a smorgasbord of topics with a myriad of theories and perspectives with no experience on any of it, with my interpretation and opinions. Okay? Too much of nothing and a little bit of everything. This is what the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast is about. Welcome. All right? Word of the day is lapidify. 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 It is a verb to turn to stone is what it means, and to harden, set, or solidify. And speaking of solidifying and hardening and the lapidification of it all, let's talk about these things that come out the sky. So before I talk about this, I wanted to tell you to please, if you can, go purchase the DVD or at least rent it or lease it from a library or whatever you want to call it. Meteor Man, okay? Shout out to Robert Townsend. So let's talk about it. So meteoroids are the space rocks. Okay, and this is the term that only applies when these space rocks are in space. Okay, because this is important. So then meteors is when the meteoroids enter Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so again, we had these rocks in space coming from different places and things. It's maybe people, I don't know, aliens, whatever. Okay, and it's coming it's in the space, the meteoroids. Then we have the meteors, okay, which is when they enter the atmosphere of the Earth, because we have that layer outside. Okay, and this is where you might see a shooting of what they call a shooting star when they're just falling or whatever, and you got the meteor showers because, I mean, it's showering, right? But the meteorites is when a meteoroid survives its trip through the atmosphere. So it survives its meteorship, okay? And it hits the ground physically on Earth. So again, we have the meteoroids, the rocks in space, meteors turns into a meteor. It hits the atmosphere of the Earth, and it turns into a meteorite when it actually physically hits the Earth's surface. This is when it's at this point it's broken apart, etc. I'm bringing this up because 1,924 meteorites have been recorded hitting the U.S. Roughly nine hit the U.S. per year. Now, mind you, this 1,924 meteorites that have been recorded hitting the Earth, the U.S. in particular, is within a 212-year period, if I'm not mistaken. Within that 212-year period, roughly 9 hit the U.S. per year. Within the last week and a half, there have been significant meteorites hitting different places, so much so that the people themselves, because when you see a meteor shower, it's cute, everybody can see it, but the likelihood that people, and of course with the beauty of phones, we in everybody's business, right? But the likelihood that people can record or witness meteorites hitting the surface, doing damage, and being able to find it or see it or whatever is really low. Again, they hit nine hit the U.S. per year. 2 have been significant, and I'm hearing now it's like 3 or 4. So the first one hit Ohio, somewhere in Ohio. At first, they couldn't even find it. Then one hit Houston. This one hit a woman's house. She was inside, and it came through her roof. It hit the ground, penetrated the ground a bit, bounced up, and ricocheted, etc. Right? Now I'm seeing that there have been multiple in Ohio, and that people are repeatedly saying, like, okay, we've witnessed even more meteorites coming now. And I just, I don't know. Let's cue the history of meteorites, really, because at this point, I'm like, I know the significance of a phone being present helps in, number one, things being told, us getting a first-hand account or second-hand account about these things. But it's just so fascinating to me, considering the numbers in general. Okay, millions of meteors hit the U.S. atmosphere. Again, when it gets to the atmosphere, gets through the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere, that's when it is a meteor. But only 9 hit the U.S. meteorites hit the U.S. per year. And already within a week and a half, they're hitting the way they are in the frequency they are. I'm always talking about, on this podcast and just in general, to be honest, how things are constantly the same. History, even the sky events, all these things. But we are witnessing, I have to say it, we are witnessing new things that are happening that have never happened through recorded space and time. So basically, no human being has recorded some of the events that have occurred this year alone, 2026. No human being has recorded that we know of, because it could have been happening, that we know of. And so sometimes you do have to wonder, like, what's going on? And then, you have your conspiracy theorists, of course, that are like, well, those aren't meteorites. Those are something else, like testers to see if things hit. I haven't seen, as I was looking up the articles and different things, I remember when the first one dropped in Ohio, they barely wanted to say, they were like, oh, we don't even know where it hit. They try to be all suspicious with it. But see, when that second one hit in Houston, then it was like, well, I guess we got to start writing articles. So now I'm seeing more articles when I was trying to check up on some different things about it. Because, I like to try to post these articles that are referenced and talked about within the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, now Substack. So I'm like, okay, now they're kind of giving a little bit more information. And the woman whose house was hit by the meteorite has been very forthcoming in particular. So, and Houston seems to be more open. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more, but these are new. We are running into new things. And I just do think it is fascinating that these meteorites are hitting like that within that week and a half. And who's to say we not going to, next week get another one? I don't know. It's very strange, and I'm fascinated. And it's like, because I always, when meteorites hit, or when you hear that it hits, or if you just hear, like in the past, like, oh, this is so-and-so crater lake or something like that, because this is when, a meteorite hit in so-and-so, you always wonder, like, okay, why does it seem like the meteorites always hit like open fields and stuff? But then when it hit that lady rooftop, I'm like, okay, now we're getting into something real. I'm like, did the aliens hear me? Like, what's going on? Because it literally, I had mentioned when the first one hit in Ohio, talking about out loud, and then all of a sudden now it hit the lady rooftop. Okay, we're moving on. Speaking of meteorites, let's talk about the metaphysical for a minute. It is that portion of the podcast episode, the metaphysical commercial break. Here we have it. folks. Speaking of rocks, specialty rocks on earth, stone of the month is Unakite. It is a comfort stone and it provides emotional discernment and balance. It activates self-love and supports endocrine health. And I believe in the power of Unakite. So get you some. All right. It is a new season. Everyone. It is spring. Hey. Okay. Incense of the season of spring is Jasmine, of course. Okay. It enhances the mood. It is known to reduce stress and improve emotional balance and promote positivity. I mean, the flower jasmine is ancient in its benefits to earth, to people, and places and things, quite frankly. And so shout out to Jasmine, the flower, and shout out to the fact that they have made jasmine an incense. And it's one of the oldest incense, right up there with frankincense and myrrh. Okay. So get you some jasmine incense, and that is all. All right. So to the meat and potatoes of the conversation at hand. All right. So first of all, it was crazy because I don't know. Sometimes just bear with me. This year, especially, I've kind of just been like, let me try to stay off the social medias. Like, let me have more balance with social media. I am a child of social media. Social media was invented when I was a child. And so truly I was amongst the beginners of it, right? And so I've been dealing with social media, for 20 years, damn near, and so, or less, 20 or less, 15, 19, I don't know. My point is that it's been a while. It's been a long time. And so sometimes I have to remember that even though what's on social media is a reflection of real life, it is still a reflection. Everybody knows things gets distorted with reflections, because when you look in the mirror, you will know that it is the reverse of yourself, and therefore it is an altered state of yourself. Okay. And so that, to me, is what social media is. It's a mirror of sorts. It's good, it's bad, it's ugly, but it is still a reflection of the people, of the masses, the people, the places and the things, is what I was trying to say. And so, like, it's dangerous to constantly be on it. Of course, it's dangerous to believe that the thoughts on social media are the end all be all, the finite, the black and white of it all. Again, yes, it's a reflection of real people. I hate when people say, well, social media isn't real. Now, that's not fucking true. It's real than a motherfucker. But it's important that we understand it's just a reflection of a broken, refracted version of humanity and things and places. Okay. So with that being said, I've been trying to kind of keep it balanced this year, really kind of not even do too much this year, because it's starting to become, it's been like this it's been like this since its inception, but it's even more prevalent now. It's becoming more performative, and I feel like people are thinking in social media, like they're thinking, acting, and even moving their lives around social media in such a way that that is the life that they are pouring into the world, is a social media version even of themselves outside of social media, if that makes sense. I've said a lot of words thus far, and so I try to keep off. I'm saying all this to say that I missed, because I usually get my news from social media, I missed this part of this partial government shutdown. Girl, had no clue what they had going on, because a part of it is too the black women resting, black women getting out of watching the news and all that kind of stuff, right? But I missed this partial government shutdown, child. So the Democrats and the president and his posse have, of course, come to an impasse of the Democrats wanting the stormtroopers to wear different things that can help with surveilling them and controlling a check and balance of the stormtroopers, which they shouldn't exist as an entity at all. But to try to, I guess the Democrats are like, well, the compromise is, since they exist, let's try to monitor their bad behavior, since many people have been killed in the hands of the stormtroopers, right? And here at the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast, you know what a stormtrooper is, because we know that ice is the solid form of water, and that's it. Okay, and so, or colloquialism, jewelry, all right? And so anyway, we have this partial government shutdown. With this partial government shutdown, the TSA is not being funded because, again, the president and the Democrats couldn't come to an agreement because of the immigration and the monitoring of these stormtroopers. TSA not being funded, but the stormtroopers are, because, again, the president has come forth with some kind of a thingamabob. You do the math and the vocab on that states that they get paid throughout space and time of evil, right? So, again, the TSA is not being paid. So airports, because they are kind of the guardians of the airport, if you will, this is stopping a lot of travel. It is congesting a lot of travel. It is causing a lot of bullshit. And it was causing when the first full government shutdown was occurring. And I gotta let you know, I don't know about you, but I'm truly exhausted. First of all, going back to social media, recently when I did jump back on, because I learned this all in the same day and saw these pictures, I saw the images of the black stormtroopers at the airport, because apparently, I'm getting ahead of myself, but okay, since the TSA is not funded through this partial government shutdown, someone's big brain or tiny brain, depending on who's talking about it, decided that the stormtroopers should be in the airport and help, quote unquote, and aid, quote unquote, with the TSA or the lack thereof, right? And so, of course, with this, people have been taking pictures of these stormtroopers. And going back to now, what I was about to say is that them showing the black stormtroopers, and especially the black stormtrooper women, it's painful. I mean, it's like if during the civil rights movement, the people that were spraying the water on our grandparents, some of our parents, were other black people. You know, it would be like if you're in it's like when, and this does happen, in an inner city school, if a black teacher or a Latino teacher were purposely failing the children in that inner city. You know, it's like that kind of thing. It's like the people who are oppressed becoming the oppressors, if you will. And it's just so disgusting, especially when it's a black woman. Oh, it's like, you know, I think so highly of black women. I am a black woman, Southern. And it disgusts me on so many different levels. And girl, we don't even have the time. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the time. I don't have the emotional capacity or regulation to really lay out how disgusting, vile, and horrifying it is to see those images. And the other layer of it is like when the stormtroopers first became prominent, because they've existed for quite some time. A lot of people don't know this, but maybe 7 years plus. But since they've existed, they've always, you know, wore masks, hide their faces, their eyes even. And so now they're being shown, when they are being shown publicly in photos in these public spaces, now we are seeing the full face, and the full face is black. The full face is Latino. You know, it's just like, Lord, I can't. It just disgusts me to my core. There is no money amount in this world that would cause me to do something against my own self, because that's what I feel like. I feel like even though we're individuals, even though we have our own lives to live, we come from different parents, different wombs, different dust particles, if you will. The reasons why we were even, you know, constant, you know, even with all those things in our individuality, within our individuality, there's a connectivity in community, in race, in culture, even in wherever the state you're born in. Like, no matter how much we may try to divide ourselves, there is within that division, say with me, the community, right? And so it's like you are biting your own arm. It's like you're cutting off your own foot. And it's just weird to me. It's just weird to me to see these pictures, especially to see this. And I'm sure if you've seen them, you know the one black girl. You know the one black girl with the glasses or whatever. And it's just like, girl, I don't have time. Like, I don't. And it's like, you start thinking about people. Now, this is, maybe, excuse me, y'all may not do this, but I do this. I start thinking about people's parents. I'm like, yo, Bob, like, just out here. Maybe their mom gone, so their mom doesn't have to witness such a destruction. Maybe their mom is a backstab. I don't know, but it's just like, ooh, it's gross to me. Again, they have money for the stormtroopers, but not the TSA agents. And I'm saying that in the logic that they're saying, we know they have the money. There is money. There's never not money. So whatever we're receiving, the information that we're receiving, it's always good to know that one of the most beautiful things about Earth, the planet itself, and also the mindset of the humans that are decent and good, is there's always enough. Abundance and plentifulness is the moment. It is life itself. That's the thing. There's never anything that can run out. And when people say that it can, I just want you to know that's not a good people. I just want you to know. So the idea that we have money, quote unquote, we at this point have money to fund these stormtroopers and not the TSA workers is just crazy to me. Then I start thinking about the fact of two major things. I think about the airline corporations. I'm just befuddled. I don't know if y'all know this, but hopefully you do. Always remember this. Corporations lobby. And without getting into grandiose details, you can Google it, of course. Lobbying is ensuring that a corporation, whether public or private, gets what they want through the government, okay, through Congress, through the government. And so the Delta, they got lobbyists, airlines in general, the whole corp with all of them. I don't even know, conglomerate, okay? They got lobbyists. Like, so what are y'all doing? That's what I want to know what United got going on, what Delta got. Have y'all had a conference? Especially because I'm in Georgia, which is the hub of one of the largest airports in the United States of America, because of the amount of people who enter this airport and go out of this airport, even to get to other locations. We're servicing a lot of people. And so I'm like, so Delta didn't want to talk to, anybody like United, American, like even Spirit, somebody. That's weird to me that the corporations aren't scratching their head, because this is becoming an issue. Now I'm trying to figure out, a lot of people have been telling people, which I think is fascinating, don't fly, don't book the thing, or if you do need to go to the place, use another form of transportation, car, bus, train. The trains, well, maybe you don't know this, but trains are already kind of expensive. Now they're, of course, because of how capitalism works, shout out to that, my God, that ensures that corporations such as, now mind you, Amtrak, I don't know any other train, goddamn railroads, so they have monopolized the damn railroad system for people. And so their prices are going up. So it's like, okay, if you're traveling, of course, it's with the cars, and people are saying, okay, we're not going to go to the airport anymore. The car, that will increase to rent a car. Gas is already going to increase. So every form of transportation will be affected by that. So it's very fascinating to hear people say, like, don't fly anymore and all this kind of stuff. It's like every facet of transportation is affected by simply not paying TSA workers at the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that damn deep. And then on top of that, with the airline corporations, me wondering what the fuck going on with them, I'm also fascinated by the governors of these states with these hub airports. What the hell is my governor doing? What is the governor of California? Like, what are they doing? Y'all not talking to y'all people? Because mind you, they're a part of the whole government entity. Talk to your dude. Talk to your girl about what the hell going on. It's serious. And it's like, you're trying to play us by saying, oh, we can't pay TSA workers. You bring in the stormtroopers. You don't think we don't know what you're trying to do by bringing in the stormtroopers? Oh, God. It's irritating to me. And it's just too much because as it relates to going back to the statement about maybe we should stop riding on the planes because, it's taking now. Now, this is how it was originally when TSA first formed, is because I was born for that, where TSA wasn't even a thing. But, originally it was like that, where the line, you would have to show up 3 to 6, maybe 6 is a stretch, but right now 6 hours isn't a stretch, but you would have to show up many hours prior to your flight to be able to even make it to your flight. We're going back to that, reverting back to that, because that's not necessarily new per se, but it's just frustrating because also there's another solution. How about you just shut down TSA? Again, go back to the original metal detector, we wish you a Merry Christmas and hope for the best type, flying experience. I mean, they could do that. That's a solution. You would have to shovel around people, and a lot of people would be without a job and laid off, but we could put them somewhere else, but that's another thing. I don't know. It's just frustrating all around and irritating to see humans pretend, and there's a specific type of human, but humans pretend, we'll just say for the sake of the podcast, humans pretend like they really got it together. Like they're so ahead of their time. Like, oh, we've really got technology down locked, and on basic shit, y'all, they can't get it right. Happy Women's History Month. All right. So quote of the day is by a woman, Gertrude Stein. She was a poet, writer, author, etc. from, I believe, Pennsylvania. Let me see. Yeah. And really ahead of her time, quite frankly, because of her quote of the day. And quote of the day is, everybody gets so much information all day long that they lose their common sense. Ain't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? I mean, wow, this lady was born in 1874 and passed away in 1946. But in her lifetime, she said that. You know what I'm saying? And it's 2026. Again, this is people thinking they got it together. They smart. They can rule nations and shit. My goodness. All right. So to alleviate all of this mess, let's go and end this podcast with Book of the Week. Book of the week is called Self-Care for Black Women, 150 Ways to Radically Accept and Prioritize Your Mind, Body, and Soul by Oludara, Adeeyo. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I need you to get this book. It's wonderful. I love a good activity, affirmation situation, in one book. Okay. So prioritize your well-being with these 150 self-care exercises designed specifically to help Black women revitalize their outlook on life, improve their mental health, eliminate stress, and self-advocate. Between macro, aggressions at school, at work, and everywhere in between, it's tough to prioritize physical and mental wellness as a Black woman, especially with the constant news cycle. Wow, I didn't even know this was in the synop, highlighting Black trauma. Seriously. Now, with the self-care for Black women, you will find more than 150 exercises that will help you radically choose to put yourself first. Whether you need a quick pick-me-up in the middle of the day, you're working through feelings of burnout, or you need to process a macro aggression, this book has everything you'll need to feel more at peace. You'll find prompts like map out your feelings about microaggression, make a list of your safe spaces, detail out an entire day dedicated to your self-care, and more. It's time to put yourself first and prioritize your self-care once and for all. And this book is here to help you do just that. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Cotton Candy Clouds podcast. Be safe out there. If you're traveling, be careful. Love your people. All right. When your head is in the clouds, there's always something sweet to think about.